The King's Scarred Leakin Luna. Synopsis. As the dust settles on the terrible revelations that ripped their world apart, Ivy and King Kyson are presented with one scarred by betrayal and uncertainty. Always haunted by her mother's terrible legacy, Ivy strives to reclaim her place next to Kyson and reinvent what it means to be the queen of the Valkyrie Kingdom and her fated companion. External forces are using the kingdom's weaknesses to advantage themselves, its fragile pieces on the point of breaking apart. Old and new adversaries converge on Ivy, pushing King Kyson to choose whether to protect her or let them kill her. Kyson has to make a vital choice, haunted by his past and the continuous danger to his realm. He can choose between keeping the darkness of revenge that has clouded his rule or embracing the light Ivy symbolizes, a path offering the possibility of love and healing. As the fight with the hunters nears, Ivy's stamina and their partner connection will be put to the test. They have to collaborate to confront the specters of their past and build a future when their love vanquishes the darkness. But will Ivy be able to forgive him for his wrongs? And can the king actually put the past behind them? Ivy and Kyson's love must overcome the trials destiny has presented in order for the kingdom not to fall apart under King Kyson's fury and the secrets haunting them. Episode 1. Ivy, I have no idea how long it had been since I shifted. The memories are hazy, but I can recall I spent most of my time while shifted on the phone with Abby after Kyson called her for me. She remained on the phone until I could no longer keep my eyes open, and with the help of Kyson's calling, eventually, I was lulled into oblivion. However, I do recall Abby was just as shocked as I was about me being leaken, but also found it quite hilarious that I could lick my own eyeball, which I discovered accidentally. Who would have thought lichens had such long tongues? The feeling of my bones breaking and dislocating wakes me out of my deep slumber, though the transition back is nothing compared to the initial shift. But it still makes me whimper when I feel the expanding of my spine, sending a shudder through my body. Kyson's massive hand on my back caresses me softly, and I blink, trying to wake up from where I lay. A rumbling caress resonates from deep within his chest. Even asleep, he still purrs, using the calling as a sedative. Tired, I blink rapidly, yawn, and rub my eyes. Still, I would rather not move from off his chest, content with just lying here wrapped in his warmth. His fur tickles my nose, his clawed fingers tracing the ridges of my spine gently as the transition comes to an end. His purr grows louder, and I melt against him, relishing the sound and the beat of his heart. My heart falls in time to the sound when he pulls me higher, his tongue running over my mark, lapping at it. Arousal washes through me, making my toes curl, but I am still angry with him. As much as I enjoy his touch, I am still angered by everything. Kyson rolls over, shifting as he does so. The cracking of his bones makes me grind my teeth as fur becomes hot skin, and he rolls me on my back, his body pressing between my legs. His thick, muscled arms rest on either side of my head. He shudders before turning his head, cracking his neck, and his eyes go back to their dazzling silver color. He smiles down at me before pressing his lips to mine gently. His tongue traces the seam of my lips before forcing it between them. I sigh, kissing him as he rocks his hips against me. His hand moves to my neck, and his fingertips graze my scalp as they slide through my thick hair, pulling me impossibly close as he deepens the kiss. His tongue demands and dominates my mouth, tasting every inch and stealing the air from my lungs. He pulls away and chuckles softly, dropping his head onto my shoulder. What's so funny? I ask. Nothing, he chuckles, purring louder. My eyes widen, realizing I, too, am also purring and hadn't realized it, mistaking the vibration as coming from him. My face heats, and he nibbles my lip. I can't seem to stop the noise even if I'd like to. I have no control over it. Kyson lifts his head, his hand moving to my face, his thumb strokes over my cheek gently, my skin flushes with my embarrassment as I continue to purr like a cat getting its back scratched. Don't be embarrassed. It's normal, love. It's your body reacting after it shifts, it recognizes our bond and wants to mate, he purrs, and I shake my head. I don't want to mate, my body just went through hell. But the moment he says the words, I become instantly aware of the throb between my legs, the slickness coating my thighs. Kyson thrusts his hips against mine. His hardened length slips between my wet folds, coating him with my arousal. He brings his face closer, his lips gently brushing against mine. His tongue gives me no rest as it invades my mouth once again. I don't want to mate, Kyson. You should stop, I mumble around his lips. His plump, full lips leave mine, letting me catch my breath. You're lying to yourself, Kyson tells me in a low whisper, and I shake my head. Kyson pulls back, staring down at me, watching my face when he rocks his hips against mine. A needy moan escapes me, and my face heats. No, he purrs. I see the desire swirling in his gaze. Deny me all you want, but don't deny yourself. I'm here. Let me help the ache stop, he purrs, nipping at my lips. I don't want to sleep with you, I blurt as his lips travel along my jaw and down my neck, nipping, sucking, teasing my flesh. Kyson ignores me. Instead, his lips travel lower to his mark, which now lies etched into my skin. He growls, nipping at it, making my toes curl and my walls clench, the pulsating becoming worse and driving me near insanity. Then I won't mate you, he growls. My back arches at the feel of his tongue tracing over the hardened peak. Sparks rush over my skin, heating it, and my breathing becomes ragged as he sucks on it, swirling his tongue around my areola. My muscles tense at the pleasurable feeling building lower within my stomach. The purr that emanates out of me resounds around the room before I whimper as he bites down on my tender skin. The pain, however, is only fleeting, chasing the pain away, then turning his attention to the other, his hot mouth moving slowly, enticing more moans. His mouth continues its descent lower. I growl when he doesn't move faster, my entire body craving his touch as he bites into my hip. Kyson! I growl, annoyed when I feel his breath sweep over my slit. Patience, love, I will give you what you want, he purrs as his hands grip the backs of my thighs, and he yanks me down to the end of the thick mattress. He moves off it to sit on the floor. Growling, his hand slides to the backs of my knees, forcing them to bend. Kyson shoves my legs higher, my knees resting along my ribs, exposing me further to him. I have no time to feel embarrassed about the position he has put me in, everything on display makes me want to close my legs, but his grip won't allow it when he sweeps his tongue flat across my folds before his entire mouth covers my pussy, sucking on my swollen flesh. I mewl, melting against the mattress as his mouth continues. His tongue parts my lower lips. My pulse pounds uncontrollably. Tension coils in my lower belly. He forces his tongue into my mouth, but I am too exhausted to care as he makes me taste myself on his tongue. He growls, nipping at my lips. I'll run you a bath, he whispers against my mouth. All I can do is nod, my brain liquefied. He laughs softly, climbing off me and wandering off toward the bathroom. Ganon, the aging door creaks open, its old hinges emitting a loud groan that reverberates through the room. As the light streams in, filtered and subdued by the curtains, I see the space is enveloped in a dim, ethereal glow. Liam, a tall and imposing figure with broad shoulders and a chiseled jawline, strides into my sanctuary. His dirty blonde hair tumbles messily into his eyes, adding an air of ruggedness to his already formidable presence. Despite his commanding demeanor, there is a certain enigma that shrouds his face, concealing the savage nature that lies within. Frustration etches his stance as he saunters toward me, dressed only in a tank top and jeans. The sinewy muscles of his bulging arms are on full display, adorned with thick, corded veins that seem to pulsate with every step. "Get up," he demands, his voice laced with an undeniable authority. I groan in protest, reluctant to be torn from the peaceful embrace of slumber, but Liam's relentless determination leaves me no choice. Standing at the foot of my bed, Liam begins clapping with a resounding intensity. "Up! Get out of bed," he insists, his words punctuated by the forceful removal of my blanket. A mischievous glint dances in his eyes as he exclaims, "Oh la la, what have we here? Sleeping in the buff, I see. Me likey." Before I can react, his hand connects with my exposed skin in a swift slap that leaves a searing imprint on my ass. The sting radiates through my body as if every finger has been branded onto my backside. I snarl in defiance, rolling over onto my back and fixing him with a glare that could ignite the room. "Liam, you twat!" I hiss through gritted teeth, my hand instinctively rubbing the welted flesh. "Get out of my room!" But Liam remains undeterred, his resolve unyielding. "No, can do. I have a job to do, and you are coming with me," he declares with unwavering determination. I groan in resignation, reaching for my blanket and attempting to reclaim the warmth that has been so abruptly snatched away. However, Liam's grip is firm as he snatches it again, tearing it completely off the bed. "Up, or I will make use of that by turning it into my personal dumpster," Liam snaps, his words laced with a dangerous edge. Anger courses through my veins as I begrudgingly sit up, tossing my legs over the side of the bed. As I do so, Liam nonchalantly strolls toward my drawers, rummaging through them and flinging clothes in my direction. With a mixture of annoyance and resignation, I snatch the garments and begin dressing myself. "And where are we going?" I inquire, a tinge of curiosity seeping into my voice. "Anywhere but this room." "I am sick of watching you sulk," Liam retorts, his exasperation palpable. "Great, the psycho woke me for no reason." Pulling my shirt over my head, I fix him with my meanest glare. "Has Abby called you?" I ask him as I slip on my sneakers, stealing a glance in his direction. He shakes his head in response. "When was the last time you spoke to her?" he queries, tilting his head slightly to the side. "Days ago, a week maybe more, I shrugged nonchalantly, uncertainty clouding my mind. The days have blurred together since she left, merging into a haze of indistinguishable moments. She'll come around, Ganon. She will realize what sort of man he is, Liam assures me, his voice carrying a hint of optimism. Grabbing my belt from the bedside table, I deftly thread it through the loops before securing the buckle and following him out of the room. Maybe ask Kyson for permission to visit her, Liam suggests as we make our way through the corridors. Unsure of our destination, I continue to trail behind him, my mind preoccupied with thoughts of Abby. We eventually find ourselves in the labyrinthine depths of the castle's basement, specifically the kitchens. Descending deeper into the bowels of the building, we finally come to a halt in a dimly lit chamber. Kyson wants me to find all the archives on Azalea Landina, Liam informs me, his voice carrying a note of urgency. We had long suspected Ivy may be the missing Landina princess, the rightful heir to the Landina Kingdom. The implications of this revelation are staggering, as it meant Kyson's treatment of her had been misplaced. He had believed her to be the daughter of the infamous serial killer Marissa Talbot, but now doubts began to creep in. Too many pieces of the puzzle failed to align. Having voiced my concerns to Damien on numerous occasions, I had become increasingly convinced something was awry with Ivy's behavior. Her instincts seemed more akin to those of a Lycan rather than a werewolf. However, Kyson remained steadfast in his refusal to listen to our doubts. Until now. Navigating through the cluttered expanse of the storage area, we drag boxes out and sift through them in search of any information pertaining to the Landina family and their missing daughter, who would be roughly Ivy's age. Our efforts yield a few scattered files, which we quickly scan before deciding to consult Damien for further insight. Unfortunately, it becomes apparent we have barely scratched the surface of this vast labyrinth. The cell is almost inaccessible, with towering stacks of boxes reaching all the way to the ceiling. And there are 6 more cells just like it. When our search finally draws to a close, Liam leads me to a training session with the castle's men and what remains of the Landina guards. The day stretches on, filled with physical exertion and the relentless pursuit of honing our skills. Amidst it all, I attempt to call Abby, my longing for her presence gnawing at my heart. Liam, ever vigilant, seems determined to keep me distracted. I wish he would stop babysitting me. As the shift comes to a close, we make our way back to my room within the castle's confines. Stepping through the threshold, I groan in frustration as Liam follows closely behind. "Come on, Liam, leave me be," I growl, my frustration seeping into my voice as I stalk toward the bathroom in need of a quick shower. The hot water cascades over me, washing away the grime and tension of the day. However, when I step out, I find Liam still lingering in my room, his eyes fixated on my personal belongings. Snatching the photos of Sia and Abby from his hands, I confront him with a mixture of annoyance and anger. "Liam!" I snarl through gritted teeth, my voice laced with frustration. He exhales heavily before moving toward my bed and taking a seat. "By the way, Kyson granted you leave to visit Abby," Liam states matter-of-factly, his words hanging in the air. I sigh in acknowledgement, realizing he must have convinced Kyson or perhaps enlisted Damien's help in persuading the king. "You didn't have to get involved," I mutter, placing the photos back in their folder with a sense of careful reverence. "When you get her back, are you going to tell her about killing her aunt? Liam's question hangs heavy in the air, causing me to swallow hard as my gaze averts to his penetrating stare. More importantly, are you going to tell the king about who Sia truly was? He presses further, his voice filled with a mix of concern and curiosity. It changes nothing. We dealt with Sia in the end, and she never had the chance to carry out her nefarious plans. What good would come from dredging up the past? Nothing but turmoil, I respond, my voice tinged with resignation. The king wouldn't be angered by your actions against Sia and her mother, Liam asserts, his gaze unwavering as he locks eyes with me. Are you speaking solely about my involvement or considering everything? I counter, my tone laced with a hint of skepticism. If Kyson were to discover the truth, he might hold Abby accountable. Assuming guilt by association. Look at what he has done to Ivy. I won't risk it with Abby, I explain, my words laden with a sense of protectiveness toward the woman I love. Liam takes a seat at the edge of the bed, his posture reflective of deep thought. And what about Abby? He probes further. You have to tell her about us. She will find out, Ganon. Secrets like this don't remain hidden forever. Tell her what exactly? That my mate chose you over me? Or how I felt the bond breaking every time she trapped my best friend? Or perhaps I should inform her about how we tore her beloved aunt apart when we discovered the truth about each other. The bitterness in my voice is palpable as I unleash my pent-up frustration. Liam sighs, his expression filled with a mixture of sympathy and understanding. Abby would understand. I just don't want this one secret to tear you apart again once you have her back. If she were to uncover it on her own, the consequences could be dire. The only person who knows about this, Liam, is you. Unless you plan on revealing it to her, there is no way for her to find out, I retort sharply. Liam shakes his head, his expression a mix of resignation and concern. Just think about it, Ganon. I will support you, no matter what you decide. But I believe Abby deserves to know the truth about her parents and the circumstances they were running from. We can't say for certain. We only recently discovered that Sia had a twin sister. There could be numerous reasons why Abby's parents went rogue, I argue, desperately clinging to the shreds of doubt that remain. But it does make sense, doesn't it? Why would Abby's parents willingly become rogues? They were fleeing from someone. We might not have known about it until Abby entered the picture, and you stumbled upon those files, but now it's clear who they were running from. Abby has a right to know, at the very least, that her aunt was your true mate, Liam concludes before turning toward the door. Get some sleep, brother. I'll make sure your car is ready for your departure first thing in the morning to see Abby. Hopefully, you can bring her home, he says, his voice filled with a sense of hope and determination. With that, he shuts the door, leaving me with a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. I exhale deeply, retrieving my clothes and slipping into bed. Tomorrow holds the promise of reuniting with Abby, and I can only hope my words and presence will be enough to convince her to return with me. If not, I am left uncertain of what other avenues remain open to me. However, I know if I were to ask Liam for assistance, he would willingly aid me in exacting vengeance upon Kate and sweeping the consequences under the rug. Unfortunately, such an act would require the annihilation of his entire pack. As sleep begins to claim me, I am left with lingering questions and a sense of trepidation. The truth weighs heavily on my heart, threatening to unravel everything we have fought so hard to build. But in the depths of my soul, I know that secrets can only remain buried for so long. Ganon, last night, the king granted me special leave while Ivy was transitioning. I have been in the car ever since. Desperate to reach Abby, I repeatedly dial her number, hoping to persuade her to see reason. My calls go unanswered, just as they have in our previous attempts. Abby has been purposely avoiding me, shutting me out of her life. My mission is to report any issues. It angers me that Kyson won't allow me to forcefully remove her from her mate. Such an act would certainly create tensions as well as be deemed unlawful, especially if she wished to remain by his side. As his mate, she belongs to him. However, the temptation to break that law gnaws at me relentlessly. Love makes you do weird things. I am prepared to face any consequences, be it imprisonment or lashings. I just don't want Kyson's already fragile political situation as collateral damage. If it meant freeing Abby from her undeserving mate, I would do it. I knew Kyson would hesitate to pass such a sentence, especially under pressure from the packs he governs. It wouldn't bode well for a king to defy the very laws he helped establish, laws put in place to halt alphas from forcibly marking multiple women and tearing them away from their true mates. That was precisely why Cade refrained from marking any of his wives. Technically, they were free if they found their destined mates. However, Abby was an exception. He had marked her, fully aware that having a mate made him stronger. Despite the futility of my efforts thus far, I have no choice but to persist. Going against a mate bond is nearly impossible for she-wolves, and my attempts to expose Cade's infidelity has fallen flat. So, for now, my only option is to convince Abby to willingly leave him. He didn't deserve her. Neither did I, but I would spend the rest of my life trying to prove my worth to her if she would have me. As stupid as it might be to try, I have to. We rarely come this far out into the pack. Even when invited to stay, as we passed through it sometimes, we always sought accommodation elsewhere. We feel uncomfortable within packs, never fully certain of their allegiance or potential ties to the hunters. Caution dictated our actions. Nonetheless, Alpha Cade has shown us kindness, always extending his help unquestionably whenever we need him to send his men to scout for hunters in his area. He is still a disgusting werewolf, treating women as if they are nothing more than trophies or possessions. My phone jolts me from my thoughts, and I pull over to answer it, knowing I will soon need to input the address. Damien's name illuminates the screen, and I swiftly connect the call, placing the phone against my ear. When traveling, we try not to use the mind link, it can be distracting while driving. Have you obtained the address? I inquire, rummaging through the glove compartment, searching for a pen and paper. Yes, I have it right here. Remember, Ganon, remain unseen. If you are caught lurking without formal notice, suspicions will be raised, Damien advises, caution evident in his voice. What did you tell him? I query sharply. I informed him Ivy wanted to send a care package, he responds. Very well. I'll stop along the way and purchase some items. I can play the role of a delivery boy, I retort with a hint of annoyance. Good idea. But please, Ganon, refrain from causing harm. We cannot afford any bloodshed, Damien pleads. I am solely here to retrieve Abby, I state. You mustn't force her, you know the consequences if you do, Damien reminds me. Perhaps I am willing to accept those consequences, I confess. And what becomes of Abby if she chooses to return to him? You would be banned from entering his pack, leaving her trapped there. The king would have no choice but to administer 1,000 lashings and imprison you, as per the law. Don't make him do that. You witnessed what happened last time, it nearly destroyed one of our own, Damien counters. But that imbecile forcefully claimed the girl. I am not seeking to claim her, I only wish to take her away, I argue. Semantics matter little, Ganon. Don't force my hand in ordering you to retreat, Damien warns firmly. This is Abby we're discussing, Damien, I breathe, desperation tinging my voice. I am well aware, but our hands are tied. Kate is the only alpha with whom we have a genuine alliance, Damien reminds, his tone laced with resignation. I glare out at the forest beyond the windshield, frustration coursing through my veins. So, what's your decision? Shall I command you to return, or can you restrain yourself? I snarl. Fine, I won't force her. But if he has harmed her in any way, I swear I will kill him, I vow vehemently. The king mentioned that he saw Abby, and she appeared to be in good health. Aside from Kate's infidelity, Damien interjects. And that is still hurting her, I counter sharply. There's no way it can't. Ganon. Damien's voice rises, reprimanding me. Fine, I will keep my hands to myself. Just give me the address, I concede, fearing he will order me back home after driving all this way. As a mere gamma, alongside Dustin and Liam, I hold little power compared to Damien, who holds the rank of beta. If he commands my return, I will be powerless to resist. With haste, I jot down the address before ending the call and inputting it into the GPS. The destination is indeed located outside of town, miles away. I had expected Abby to be at the pack house, for that was where an alpha's mate should reside, not hidden away in some secluded cabin. Kate has isolated her from everyone and everything, including the town itself. A growl escapes as I realize she is out there alone, especially with hunters on the prowl. Starting the car, I drive to the nearest town before stopping at a general store to fill a basket with items. I carefully select all her favorite fruits and candies, products I have persistently encouraged her to try since she was initially hesitant to accept anything from me back at the castle. Toward the end, however, she had let her guard down, and I had managed to convince her to be with me, only for that wretched Cade to intervene and shatter our fragile connection. Surveying the store for additional gifts, I find that even flowers are absent from this meager establishment. Perhaps Abby will appreciate a book, I muse momentarily before remembering her inability to read. A comic book might suffice, maybe she could interpret the story through the illustrations. If she were to return with me and reject her mate, I could take it upon myself to teach her how to read. 30 minutes later, I arrive at the outskirts of Cade's territory. Abby's dwelling is barely on the border, and I navigate down a long, winding dirt driveway. The place before me hardly deserves the title of a house, it resembles more of a shack, a structure that seems poised to crumble with a mere gust of wind. I catch sight of Abby at the clothesline, her gaze shifting toward my approaching car. Shielding her eyes from the sun's glare, she squints to discern my identity. Swiftly parking the car, I send a text message to Damien as per his request. Abby gazes apprehensively at the vehicle, her worry evident. I wonder why a random car would cause her concern. Nevertheless, she appears unchanged save for a slight tan, as if she has spent ample time outdoors. Her cheeks bear hollow contours, more pronounced than when she departed, and her skin wears a wearied pallor. Despite these signs of fatigue, she seems to be holding up well, or so I hope. "Oh, it's you," Abby states, her tone laced with nervousness as she approaches. "Why are you here?" she asks, her lips caught between her teeth. "What? Is that all you have to say?" I inquire, raising an eyebrow in surprise. A small smile tugs at the corner of her lips before she rushes toward me, and I swiftly enclose her in my embrace. "God, how I've missed you," I confess with sincerity. Abby nods, her thin arms wrapping around my neck. She lets out a relieved breath, and I can't help but wonder why she was anxious about an unfamiliar vehicle. But for now, she is safe, and that is all that matters. "Why are you here?" she murmurs. Ganon, my face nestles in the curve of her neck, seeking solace in the delicate intermingling of scents. The familiar fragrance of her skin, a sweet blend of vanilla and lavender, wraps around me like a comforting embrace. Her question hangs in the air, dripping with skepticism and a hint of longing. "Why are you here?" she repeats, her voice wavering with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. "To see you," I reply, my words laced with an undercurrent of urgency, trying to hide my disappointment that she isn't more excited to see me. "Why else? You haven't been answering my calls." Gently, I guide her back onto her feet, my gaze fixed upon her. It's impossible not to notice the weight she has lost, a feat that defies logic given her already slender frame. Her pants, rolled at the hips to keep them from slipping off, appear several sizes too big. Even her white shirt, a piece borrowed from Kate's wardrobe, hangs loosely on her fragile form. And as I observe her, I can't help but notice the nervous glances she steals down the driveway. Instinctively, I turn my head to follow her gaze. "Expecting someone?" I inquire, a note of caution creeping into my voice. "Kate hasn't been by for a couple of days," she confesses, her voice tinged with uncertainty. "He said he was out of town, but," she leaves the unspoken words to hang between us. "But what?" I press, my curiosity piqued. "Nothing," she dismisses with a forced laugh. "Probably just me being paranoid." She gestures toward the kitchen. "Coffee?" I nod in response and make my way back to my car, retrieving the bags before joining her inside. The worn porch creaks beneath my weight as I step gingerly across its aging planks. As she opens the door, it swings with a slight tilt, its hinges worn and weary. Stepping into the dwelling, I can't help but be struck by its tiny size. The kitchen, bedroom, and living room mold together as one in this cramped space. "Where is the bathroom?" I ask, my curiosity leading me to seek out the necessities. "There's an outhouse out back," she nonchalantly replies, her attention focused on turning on the stove and filling a camping kettle. I scan the surroundings in disbelief, my mind struggling to reconcile this meager existence with the knowledge Cade, the leader of one of the wealthiest packs, is her mate. There is no bed, only a fold-out couch neatly made and calling to mind images of discomfort. I perch on its edge, feeling the groan of weary springs, and the bar at the center of the bed digs into my backside. You should come back with me, I implore her, my voice tinged with a mix of concern and frustration. Not this again, Ganon, please, Abby whines, her plea echoing with weariness. A growl forms deep within me before I remember the bags clutched tightly in my hands. I extend them toward her, watching as her brows furrow in confusion. Take it, I insist, a hint of urgency lacing my words. She sighs heavily, her steps carrying her toward me as she accepts the bags. Placing them on the table, she peers inside, her eyes lighting up with delight as she pulls out a bag of sugar clouds. It's a small pleasure I've noticed she treasures. Whenever we ventured into town together to gather supplies for Clarice, I couldn't help but notice her longing gaze fixed on these sugary treats. And so, I made sure to keep a constant supply on hand whenever our paths crossed. She pops another sugar cloud into her mouth, which stains her lips crimson and coats them with a fine dusting of sugar. A chuckle escapes me as I watch her struggle to pull her loose pants up, the candy acting as both a delightful distraction and an inconvenience. Her pants continue their descent down her hips, and she absent-mindedly rolls them up once more. Observing her movements, I can't help but notice the emptiness of the tiny fridge, save for half a bottle of milk and a solitary block of cheese. Rising from the couch, I swing open the cupboards to find them nearly bare. Why is there no food here? I growl, my frustration simmering beneath the surface. What is going on here? Something isn't right. Cade said he would come out soon to bring more, she shrugs, her voice carrying a hint of resignation as she retrieves coffee and tea bags. What have you been eating then? My words escape with a sharp edge, directed more out of concern than anger. She nervously chews on her lower lip, her gaze drifting toward the forest visible through the window. Have you been hunting for your own food? I inquire, my tone softening as I try to understand her circumstances. No, I promise. I didn't kill anything, she stammers, her words stumbling over each other in a rush to explain. I just took some bird eggs. Her gasp betrays her fear that my anger is directed toward her for resorting to hunting. Bird eggs? I scoff, my disbelief evident. I tried to catch a rabbit once, but I couldn't do it. I swear, she stutters, her voice tinged with guilt. I don't care about you hunting, Abby, I assure her, wanting to alleviate any sense of blame she may feel. My point is that you shouldn't have to. You are an alpha's mate, not some slave or a hidden secret. My voice bristles with indignation. I'm not. He's introducing me to the pack soon. It's just not safe right now. He's having issues with a neighboring pack, she stammers, her eyes darting back to the kettle that has started to whistle. Do you realize how absurd that sounds? You're his Luna, and yet he has you living out here in these conditions, I argue, exasperation tinging my words. It's not safe, she defends him, her voice laced with a mix of loyalty and fear. The safest place for you would be by his side, don't you think? Not out here along the border where anyone could get to you, I reason, my frustration mounting as she continues to offer excuses, lies he has fed her. It's like arguing with a brick wall. I despise this mate bond nonsense with every fiber of my being. It blinds she-wolves to their mates' faults, making them gullible and vulnerable. And all it takes is the smallest flicker of what they perceive as kindness, something she has been deprived of for so long, to make her believe she should trust him blindly simply because he is her mate. No, you're coming back with me, I declare, my grip tightening on her arm. What? No. I have a mate. I can't just leave. He'll worry, she protests, her voice trembling with a mixture of fear and uncertainty. Worry? Then where is he, Abby? My frustration boils over as I try to drag her toward the door. No, she screams, thrashing against my grip. Ganon, stop. Her voice cracks under the weight of her emotions, tears streaming down her face. He loves me. He said he loves me. He'll be back, she sobs. I love you. He doesn't, I scream at her, my words dripping with desperation. Abby whimpers, and I suddenly become aware my claws have slipped out, grazing her delicate skin. Thankfully, the wounds are shallow, and I release my hold on her, watching as they swiftly heal. You have a mate out there somewhere. How can you say that? She demands, her tear-filled eyes searching mine for answers. No, I don't. I want you. Can't you see that? My voice cracks with a mixture of longing and frustration. But I am not yours. I am Cade's mate. He loves me, and I love him, she insists, her voice wavering with a mix of conviction and doubt. If you think this is love, you are mistaken. Love doesn't hide someone away. Love doesn't force them to live like this, I snap, my words tinged with both sadness and anger. Her brows furrow, tears pooling in her mesmerizing hazel eyes. She shakes her head before sniffling and wiping her hands on the front of her shirt. You should go, she whispers, unable to meet my gaze. I swallow hard, my heart heavy with unspoken words. She wraps her arms around herself, seeking solace in the comforting pressure of her own embrace as she turns back toward the kitchen. Abby! I call out to her softly, my voice filled with a mix of longing and resignation. Ganon, please, just don't, she breathes, her words barely audible. Tell me. Tell me you're happy here, I implore her, my voice a mere whisper in the air. Tell me something because this isn't right. I would take care of you. I'm not yours, she says slowly, emphasizing each word with a quiet determination. But you could be, I murmur earnestly. You just need to see beyond the bond, Abby. See through his lies. My voice trails off, uncertain if there is another way to convince her, to break through the walls that surround her heart. You were willing to be mine before, Abby, I tell her. That was before I discovered my mate, and you're a leak and it would never work. I would change you, make you a leakin, but you need to reject Cade and come home with me. I can't, he loves me, she says, staring at the ground. But do you love him? Think about Abby. If he wasn't your mate, and you are locked up here, would you stay or come back with me? That's not fair, she says. Answer me, I demand. That would be different, she says, gazing around at the place. You live in a castle. Who would choose this place over that? She finally says. Fine, then if he wasn't your mate, who would you choose, him or me? But he is my mate. Exactly, the mate bond tells you to love him, to stay with him, it is not a choice. But if you had one? She bites her lip. I don't know. Please you must leave, you're confusing me, stop. It all needs to stop. Come back with me, even for a little while, just come back, come see Ivy. You wanted to see Ivy, right? I beg. It's unsafe, I have to stay here, Cade will take me to see her. He promised he would. I'm leakin'. What safer place is there to be than by my side? I curse while shaking my head and pinching the bridge of my nose in frustration. He's my mate, she says, even though she looks confused about what she wants. And that stupid marking on her neck I wish I could remove so she could think clearly. I move toward her, and she backs up, her bum hitting the kitchen sink. Come back with me. I can't, Ganon. But you want to, don't you? I ask her, and she looks away. I can't leave my mate. It would hurt him if I did. What about the pain he causes you? Ah, not this again, he wouldn't do that, I'm his mate, she says, trying to push past me. He has multiple wives, Abby. Why do you think he keeps you out here? You're lying, I already asked him, and he said you are just jealous. Of course, I am jealous, but I wouldn't lie to you, I tell her. You need to leave, she says, but I grab her, pushing myself against her and gripping her neck. My lips crash against her plump ones, and she tries to shove me away when my tongue forces its way between her lips. Abby moans as my tongue invades her mouth. Her attempts to shove me off stop and her hands run up my chest, and she kisses me back hungrily. I grip her thighs, placing her on the edge of the sink and pressing between her legs when she gasps, pulling away from me. Why would you do that? She growls. Still think a mate can't cheat on a mate? I ask her. She shakes her head. No, it's because you're a leakin', you did something. I didn't make you kiss me back, Abby. She-wolves are attracted to men of dominance, it's in our DNA. You need to leave, she says, shoving me away feebly. But she is much too weak to move me. Abby, he is no good for you. He is my mate, I am destined to be with him, she sobs before pointing at me. You made me. I wouldn't have if you, she shakes her head. It's okay to love someone else, Abby. I don't, I love my mate, she says and looks around frantically, her body trembling. Really, because back home, you seem to like me, too. Yes, before I found my mate. You still do. I tell her. Of course, I do, Ganon, you're a leakin', I'm a werewolf. It makes me submissive to your kind. Doesn't make you love someone, I tell her. Seek us out, yes, but I can't make her love me. It is in their DNA that she-wolves seek out dominant males for safety, but that doesn't mean they love them. I know she loves me too, or she wouldn't have always sought me out or let me follow her around like a lost puppy. Damien even offered to tell me to back off. Still, she refused, saying she liked me being around her, and she never reacted to Damien like this, and he is of higher rank than me. She even asked to be put in my quarters, and we all agreed before Cade came into the picture. You need to leave, I want you to leave, please. Come back with me. No. Just go. You can't force me. It's against the law. I may be stupid, but I know that much, she says, looking away. You are not stupid, misguided, yes, but not stupid, Abby, don't say that, I tell her. Leave, I have asked you to, so please, Ganon, don't make this harder than it has to be, she says, and I sigh. I pull my phone from my pocket and glance at the time. I was only granted an hour here, and I am already 15 minutes over. When you change your mind, you call me. I don't care what time it is, I will come for you. Do you still know my number? She nods. My number, Abby. She sighs and rattles it off, knowing it by heart. I kiss her forehead before nodding. Answer my calls. I will, okay, just leave, she says, and I chew my lip before turning and sulking out the door. When I get in the car, I start the engine and glance up to find her standing on the porch watching me. She waves before looking away, and I turn the car around. When I drive over the boundary, Damien rings. What? Are you on your way back with her? She wouldn't come. There is no food in that place. It's a shithole. She has to come willingly. You can't take her. I should command her, I tell him, and I should take whatever punishment Kyson delivers. She would have no choice, I am leak and she would do as I commanded. You do, and she will always question whether she made the right choice, Damien tries to reason. I growl, and eventually, he hangs up when I come to the town. I nearly drive through before I curse and pull into the grocery store. I fill a trolley with different foods before driving back, unable to get the thought of her eating bird eggs and whatever she could find in the forest out of my head. Returning to her place, I swiftly unload the groceries, careful not to make any noise that might disturb her slumber. Through the cracked window, I catch a glimpse of her sleeping on the fold-out bed. I knock gently on the door before hurrying away, unable to trust myself not to break the rules and forcibly drag her away. As I drive off, my mind consumed with thoughts of her, I catch a fleeting glance of her through the rear-view mirror. Her gaze lingers on the groceries before shifting back to my retreating vehicle. I know I'll face severe consequences for going back and being late, but I can't bear the thought of her going hungry. Damien will lose his mind when he finds out, but perhaps Kyson will understand the importance of ensuring Ivy's safety. If she knew about Abby's living conditions and Cade's deceit, she would surely be outraged. I'll find a way to tell her, even if it means facing the king's wrath. Ivy, strangely, despite spending so much time sleeping, I feel even more fatigued than usual. The exhaustion weighs heavily on me, making it a grueling task to keep my eyes open as I hastily throw on whatever clothes my hands can find. Unconcerned with my appearance, I glance at myself in the mirror, only to be met with a disheveled mess of hair resembling a haystack. Who would have thought that shifting would be so draining? I can only hope this level of exhaustion isn't a constant issue every time I shift. Grabbing Kyson's phone, I attempt to call Abby, but there is no answer. Where is she? She told me she'd call me all the time. Frustrated, I hurl the phone onto the bed and hastily gather my hair into a messy bun, determined to find Kyson to see if he can get a hold of Cade to get Abby to answer. It feels like there's a big hole in my life without her here. Stepping out of the room, my eyes land on Dustin waiting by the door. Morning, I greet him, though Dustin can't help but chuckle. You mean afternoon, my queen, he replies teasingly. I blink at him, it's afternoon already? How long was I asleep? Only a few hours. I heard you earlier with, Dustin's voice trails off, and he clears his throat, his entire demeanor suddenly changing as he side-eyes me awkwardly. It doesn't take long for my brain to register why he has grown uncomfortable. Wait, you were outside the entire. I turn to look back at the door, my eyes widening in horror, just imagining the things he heard last night. I heard nothing, my queen, Dustin quickly states. Well, clearly you heard something, I retort, noticing the blush creeping onto his cheeks. The embarrassment is palpable, engulfing both of us. Clearing my throat, I shift my gaze toward the end of the corridor. Have you seen the king? I ask, changing the subject. He is in his office, my queen. Ah, enough with the formalities. I hate being called queen, but silly especially after what you overheard, don't you think? Dustin chuckles. I heard nothing, he insists, lips curling up in the corners as he keeps his gaze fixed ahead, desperately trying to suppress his laughter. Shaking my head with a click of my tongue, I gesture toward the end of the long hallway. Come on, then, let's find my king, I huff before striding off. Dustin hurriedly follows, then races ahead, opening doors along the way, which irks me. It becomes a silent competition to reach each door first, a reminder of how everyone is constantly doing things for me. Finally outpacing him, I swing open the next door, only to collide with Kyson's chest. The impact expels the air from my lungs, leaving me stumbling backward. Dustin swiftly grabs hold of my arm to steady me as I clutch my head, feeling the dizziness overwhelm me. Eventually releasing his grip, Dustin discreetly places his hand behind his back and stands taller. And where are you rushing off to? Kyson asks, amusement evident in his voice as he surveys me. I rub my forehead where I had collided with my mate like a bulldozer. We were looking for you, I groan. Well, you found me, Kyson snorts, though I can't resist slapping his chest without considering how much stronger and quicker I have become since shifting. The force causes pain to shoot through my hand and makes the king grunt, but I don't even move him. Kyson shakes his head, draping his arm over my shoulder and pulling me closer as we retrace our steps toward the stairs leading back to our quarters. As we cross the foyer, we spot Clarice coming down the steps. Ah, there you are, my queen. I left your afternoon tea upstairs on the table for you, she informs me. Thank you, Clarice, I acknowledge, preparing to climb the steps when Beta Damien's voice rings out from down the corridor, causing us to pause. Kyson leans down, pressing his lips to my head, and I purse my lips in response. I'll be up soon, Kyson murmurs before striding off toward his Beta. What's happening? I question Dustin, my gaze fixated on Kyson's retreating figure. Dustin remains silent, prompting me to glance in his direction. "You're not allowed to tell me, are you?" I ask, already aware of the answer. "The king has everything under control," Dustin replies, and I bite the inside of my lip as I contemplate whether to go after him to find out. By the look on Damien's face, it seems serious. My eyes wander toward Kyson's office, where he has vanished. Curiosity peaks within me, wondering if this has anything to do with the missing women. Against better judgment, I begin to make my way toward his office, only to be halted by the sound of arguing. Dustin grabs my hand, trying to steer me in the opposite direction, but my feet don't move. The arguing grows louder, and Dustin tightens his grip on my hand, attempting to steer me back toward the stairs, but I find myself transfixed by what is happening. "The king doesn't want you in there right now, my queen," Dustin advises. I try to pull away from Dustin, ignoring his words. "Ivy, I want to know what's going on," I tell him when I hear something smash in his office. Dustin attempts to grab me when I rip my arm out of his gentle grip. Escaping Dustin, I shove the door open to find the king has shifted, and he has Ganon pinned on the desk, who is also shifted. They appear to be fighting while Damien is picking himself up off the floor. His lip is bleeding, and I see the healing bruise on his chin, showing someone has hit him. Ganon snarls and shoves the king before swinging at him, only for Kyson to punch him, sending Ganon stumbling backward before hitting the ground. The pungent aroma of alcohol in the room emanating from Ganon tells me he is drunk. He growls, trying to get up but stumbling, and Damien goes to get between them when Kyson glares at him, and Damien backs away with his hands up. "Stand down. She will see reason soon and come back. Stop this," the king orders Ganon. "This is bullshit, and you know it," Ganon snaps at him. "My hands are tied, you know this," Kyson says, letting him go, and glaring down at Ganon. I stand back, confused at the scene before me. Normally it's the king who throws alcohol-induced temper tantrums. I've never seen Ganon act this way before. What could get him so worked up? Unless he's talking about Abby. "You're the king. You can make him give her back," Ganon snarls when his eyes fall on me standing in the doorway. I wonder what Ivy would say to that. "Would you offer her the same excuse?" Ganon sneers. "If I knew what?" I interrupt, stepping further into the room, my presence now visible to all men. "Nothing, Ivy. Go back to our room, love," Kyson orders. At his command, my shock quickly turns into rage, feeling its subtlety wash over me. Ganon goes to say something, and the king turns, a furious growl tearing out of him, but the look on Ganon's face shows he doesn't care about the consequences, or maybe he is too intoxicated to realize the trouble he is about to get in for disobeying a direct order. "Dustin, get her," Kyson snarls, and Dustin grabs my arm, trying to pull me from the room when Ganon speaks up. "Kate is mistreating Abby," Ganon says. I stop. I had just spoken to her the night before, and she seemed fine. Turning to face him, Dustin tries to yank me out, but I shove him off. I turn to Kyson, wanting to know what he is talking about, when the king snarls, pivoting and punching Ganon so hard it knocks him out cold. I gasp, my hands covering my mouth as Ganon suddenly becomes sprawled on the floor. Out Ivy, now! Kyson snaps angrily, but I glare at him. Where is Abby, Kyson? I demand, my voice filled with a mixture of fury and concern. She is with her mate, where she chooses to be, Kyson replies, his tone daring. I furrow my brows, shifting my gaze toward Ganon, who lies on the floor. Then what is Ganon talking about? I press. It doesn't matter. I will join you soon. Kyson once again evades my question. You're lying. Pardon me. I said you're lying. Now, tell me what's happening with Abby. I snap, my mind racing as I desperately try to make sense of the situation, searching for signs in her tone and demeanor that something was off. Has something happened since we last spoke? Go back to the room. Do not force me to give you an order, Ivy, Kyson warns. Then answer the question. I retort, frustration and fear intertwining within me. My gaze darts between Kyson and Ganon, Ganon still unconscious. Ivy, Kyson grits his teeth, his eyes darting behind me to Dustin, and he glares at him in some silent message. Don't glare at him. I want to know what's going on and why you are all fighting, I demand. Dustin, get her out of here and keep her away. Kyson snarls. Dustin grips my arm, attempting to pull me from the room, but I forcefully wrench myself free. Regrettably, Dustin collides with the wall this time, and I feel a pang of guilt as he groans from the impact. Turning my attention back to Kyson, I want answers. Tell me, I demand, causing Dustin to reach out once more in an attempt to remove me from the room. Leave, Ivy, he growls. What is happening with Abby? I repeat, my anger now consuming me. Go back to our room. Do not test my patience further, Kyson warns, stepping around his desk to stand directly in front of me. Folding his arms across his chest, he meets my defiant glare. I can feel my hands trembling uncontrollably, a fact not lost on him. But this is Abby we are discussing, and she means everything to me. More than my own life. And that truth remains steadfast, even in the face of my mate's domineering presence. Then answer the question. I snap. Abby is with her mate, you know this. You spoke with her last night, Kyson says, and my eyes dart to Ganon. If I find out you're lying to me, or something is wrong with her, my words trail off. You'll what, Ivy? Kyson takes a threatening step forward. I would advise you not to finish that sentence, love, Kyson says. Do not forget, Kyson, that I have other options now, other places I can go, I retort, my voice filled with anger. His growl ripples through the room violently. Excuse me. Kyson snarls, his eyes flashing dangerously as his hands clench into fists. You dare address the Queen of the Valkyrie Kingdom so casually, King Kyson, I growl back. It may have been petty, but if he wanted to assert his dominance, then I would do the same. Despite my reluctance to embrace the role of queen, the fact remains I hold that title and possess a kingdom, even if it has a population of 0. It is still mine by birthright, and I won't back down, especially when it comes to Abby. Even if it means risking my own life. Is that so, Ivy? Kyson responds through gritted teeth. Queen Azalea, I clarify, catching him off guard. If I am going to make claims, then I will claim it all, including the name. Damien edges closer at my words, his eyes on Kyson like he is afraid Kyson will hurt me for challenging him. Dustin's fingertips brush my arm like he is preparing to rip me out of the way if needed. While Kyson and I stand locked in a battle of wills, neither of us is willing to yield to the other. The tension is palpable as the muscles in Kyson's jaw clench. Though I fear his ability to use his calling or issue orders to me, unsure of how to combat his aura, I can't forget I possess the command and aura of an alpha as a Lycan queen by blood. With this realization fueling me, I wait for Kyson's next move. Kyson Ivy is furious, and I can feel Damien sneaking closer, worried I will lose control. Honestly, I am on the verge of snapping and dragging her back to the room, and her following words nearly make me. Don't forget, Kyson, I have other places I can go now, Ivy snarls at me. Her words make me growl. How dare she think she can threaten me, threaten to leave me over something that is out of my control? I can't force Abby back here. Excuse me, Ivy. I growl, trying to keep my blistering, fiery rage under control. You dare address the Queen of the Landina Kingdom so casually, King Kyson, she spits at me. The words that roll off her tongue are pure venom. Her anger is nearly as hot as mine as she glares at me. Is that so, Ivy? I ask her through clenched teeth. My entire body trembles and I am on the serious verge of shifting again. She only just learned of her title, and she is already using it against me when she doesn't get her way. Queen Azalea, she snaps at me, and I lunge at her, trying to grab her, as Dustin stands horrified behind her when he suddenly rips her back just as I shift, losing complete control. She dares challenge an Alpha King, her king. My hand grips Dustin's shirt instead of her, and my nostrils flare as I pant, trying to regain some form of control, shocked at myself that I have lost it completely. Dustin remains utterly unmoving, and I feel Damien's hand fall on my shoulder when Ganon groans behind me, regaining consciousness. Let him go, Kyson, you hurt him, and I will walk out those doors and out of your life faster than I stepped in it, Ivy snaps at me. Her hand grips my wrist. I can feel the tremble in it, making me look at her. Her eyes are blazing with fury. Staring at her now with her eyes burning with so much anger and fear, she honestly looks like her mother, Queen Tatiana, in this instance. How did I not see it before? We will speak in the room. Now go, I tell her. No, I want to know about a broom now. I command, cutting her off, and I instantly feel terrible. Her anger blasts at me as it slivers through me, so cold and cutting like a knife's edge. Yet, she still can't fight the full weight of my alpha aura, not yet at least. She growls before the command forces her to turn around and storm off back to our room. It isn't until Dustin sucks in a wheezing breath that I realize I am choking him with his uniform. I let him go, and he exhales, relieved. You know where you should be, I tell him, and he hurries off after Ivy. Turning back to my office, Damien takes a step back just as Ganon groans and gets to his feet. Moving around the desk, I grab him and shake him. Do you have any idea what you have just done? I snarl. She had a right to know, Ganon growls back. You disobeyed a order, I told you not to get her involved, I snap at him. And what about Abby? Ivy may be the only one who can make Abby see reason. Abby trusts her, he says. That may be so, but now you have just caused me a giant headache. I would rather not deal with this right now when she is so god close to going into heat, and the bond has just forged. I had to command her, Ganon. You didn't have to do anything, Kyson. You chose to command her because you don't like being challenged, so don't blame that on me. Ganon spits at me. He stinks heavily of alcohol, and I know he isn't in the right headspace, but that doesn't mean he can get away with disobeying me and causing issues with my mate. I get he wants to vent his anger, but he did it the wrong way. We have laws even I must abide by, and until Abby asks to come back, my hands are tied entirely unless I want a war with 80 nearby packs, and I already have enough enemies without adding them to that list. I know you are mad, but we can't afford this crap right now. You want something to do, go back to Silver Shadow Pack, I snap at him. Ganon growls at me and tries to shake me off. I already got her. She can't walk, for God's sake. What else can I possibly do to her? I yank him closer. Not daily, but make sure she is dead before you return home. I have another job for you while we wait for Abby to come back. Ganon stares at me, something flickering in his gaze. No, Kyson, not while he is like this. Damien says, and I smile. They both think this is over. Mrs. Daly's mistreatment, it is, but they still haven't heard the worst of it yet. I look back at Ganon. You want revenge, then take it out on the butcher. Daly will know who he is, I tell him. The butcher? Damien asks, and I nod and glance at him over my shoulder. Yes, he's Abby's rapist, I growl, letting Ganon go. This would distract him until I find a way to legally bring Abby home. At my words, Ganon roars, his skin ripping off. He shifts so quickly as the monster he can become steps forward. He stands and snarls, his chest pressing against mine. He did what to my Abby? Ganon snarls. I won't repeat it, it isn't my place to say, but I was planning to tell you, anyway. Find Daly, and you will know where to find the butcher. I'm not bringing him in, Ganon warns, his eyes flickering and bleeding so hollow, I know the butcher will wish for death long before he receives it. He's all yours, I tell him, turning on my heel and stalking out. I am halfway down the corridor when I hear the doors opening. I will have to answer to the council, but at the end of the day, I have immunity and so does my guard for killing anyone we deem fit for execution. God have mercy on his soul because Ganon won't show him any. The man is a sadist at heart and is the one I always send when I need information. Just like my executioner, Liam, Ganon loves listening to their screams. He enjoys their pain, relishes in their blood. This man is about to learn who the real butcher is. Storming back to my quarters, I growl at Dustin standing guard. The room is silent as I approach, which I'm wary of before I enter. Not seeing her until I shut the door, only to turn around, and her hand connects with my face. Her claws slash at me and I clutch at my face. Her claws have torn into my leathery lichen skin like a hot knife through butter. Blood gushes from my face and sprays across the door behind me. You commanded me, she snarls at me while I clutch my cheek and eye. My body ripples and my hands clench. You bring Abby back here, Kyson, she growls, and I pull my hand from my face to look at her. She takes a step back at the sight of what she did. My face isn't healing quickly, either. It stings and burns horribly. Her worry hits me like a tidal wave at what she has done and fear of how I will react. She looks at her fingertips, her claws still extended, coated with so much of my blood it drips from her fingertips. I didn't mean it, she goes to apologize before her anger returns. You should have told me about Abby, she says as I blink, trying to clear my vision and keep my cool. Ignoring her ranting, I walk to the bathroom and grab a washcloth, wetting it and dabbing the gashes that are bleeding everywhere. I force myself to shift back, but it still doesn't heal. Ivy follows me in and gasps at the sight of my face. Her claws are still extended, and I know she doesn't know how to retract them. It's difficult when you're angry, and until she calms down, I doubt they will. Her body is foreign to her, and her lack of control over that form seems as bad as mine. Clearly, she inherited her father's temper. Garrett also had a filthy one. Get out! I tell her, and she goes to say something. Azalea, go. Let me calm down. I don't want to hurt you, so please go back to the room, I tell her, gripping the counter. She growls but storms back out and closes the door. I have a funny feeling Abby is about to cause huge issues between us, but for now, we both just need to calm down before one of us does something we can't undo. I'm not about to risk the bond when I only just got it back. Abby, my mind reels with the fact Ganon drove all the way here. I've missed him, but I know it's wrong to have feelings for someone else when you have a mate. It feels like a betrayal to the moon goddess to refuse the gift she has bestowed on me. Honestly, I've never considered myself worthy of a mate, someone to love me unconditionally, until I met Cade. I miss him and wonder if being apart hurts him as much as it does me. Nevertheless, as I unpack the groceries Ganon has brought and left on my doorstep, I am unable to refrain from thinking about him. I can't wipe the goofy smile off my face as I chew on a strawberry cloud. He always gave me candy at the castle. Him remembering that these are my favorite has me smiling, but then guilt sets in. I shouldn't be thinking about Ganon, I have a mate, and I scold myself for my reckless thoughts. However, it feels strange seeing the cupboards with food in them. Cade brings a couple of bags every few days, but nothing like this. I'm always rationing everything, and even then, it still isn't enough to last before he returns. Days have passed since I last saw him, and I haven't eaten anything since the bird eggs 2 days ago. It upsets me that Cade never stays long, only a few minutes before saying he has to get back to work. This place is quiet, too quiet for my troubled mind. It makes me miss Ivy and Clarice more. The walls feel like they are closing in more each day. The nights feel colder and the longing to go home back to the castle grows worse every day. After packing away the last of the groceries, I decide to go bring the washing in. I only have these pants and the shirt, plus the clothes I came here wearing. Hand washing them every day in the sink is becoming tiresome. I have asked Cade for clothes, even fresh linens. He promises but never delivers. Stepping outside, I shield my eyes from the sun that is slowly going down behind the trees. I've split some sticks to make my pegs, since none have been provided, and only half the clothesline still has wires. I can't wait to finally go to the pack house. Kate has told me all about it and how beautiful it is. I just need to be patient, and soon I will be free to be with my mate and not be at threat of the pack war he is currently stuck in. Checking the clothes, I see the hems are still wet, so I flip them on the clothesline and hang them up the other way. Another half an hour and they will surely be dry, and I can iron them for tomorrow. Going back inside, I stop when I hear tires on gravel. My heart leaps with excitement, hoping it's Cade. But when I turn around, I see the mysterious black Mustang parked at the end of the driveway again. I stare at it, wondering why they come here every day but never introduce themselves or get out. However, today is different when I see the car door swing open and a woman gets out of the car. She's gorgeous, with long curly blonde hair half pulled up. She wears sunglasses covering her eyes and everything about her screams luxury and money. The woman strides around to the front of the car, her knee-high black boots crunching on the gravel as she leans on the hood. She's wearing a white cami and blue jeans, her lips stained bright red from her lipstick. The mystery woman sits on the hood of the car, and I wave to her, wondering if she's a pack member and if I should say hello. But Cade told me not to talk to anyone out here, so I stay where I am. She doesn't wave back, but instead only stares at me. With one last glance over my shoulder, I rush inside, closing and locking the door. Not that it would do much, the door's hinges are loose, and the bottom of the door is waterlogged, making it challenging to shut and leaving a gap that the mosquitoes like to come in from at night. I peer out the window at her, staying far enough back, hoping she can't see me. She sits there for a while, then eventually flicks her cigarette and leaves, making me wonder why she stops here. Once she finally leaves, I let out a breath of relief and return to what I'm doing. My afternoon is like clockwork, so it's not hard to get back on track. I nap before bringing the clothes in, then hang them up along the window curtain on a coat hanger. I make my bed before grabbing the comic book Ganon got me. The pictures tell a story about a cat with stripes. If only I could read, the images might make more sense to me, but I am thankful nonetheless. Feeling a bit hungry, I wander into the kitchen. The sun is down now, and the day has turned to night. The nights are the longest, so cold and empty, and that's usually when the most pain comes. That horrible, heartbreaking pain that restricts my chest. My anxiety always peaks around this time, waiting for it to arrive. Next time I speak with Cade, I will ask him to take me to the pack doctor. Something must be wrong, or it wouldn't be so frequent. Abby entering the kitchen, I grab a cup and fill it with milk, deciding on milk and cookies. I am too tired to cook, and the stove is temperamental, only working when it wants to. Dipping my cookie in my milk, I bite into it. The sugary sweetness makes me giddy. Sugar always has that effect on me. Cade says it's because I'm not used to having it. After I irritated him with my constant talking on the way here from the bag of clouds Ganon gave me before I left, he tossed them out the window and snapped at me to keep quiet because he had a headache. I haven't had anything sweet since, except for artificial sugar in my coffee that Cade brought the last time he came here. He said it was a treat for being good, but it didn't even taste like sugar and had a funny aftertaste. Just the reminder of him getting upset makes me tense. What if he comes and sees me with them? Maybe I shouldn't have any more? I don't want to annoy my mate and make him leave when he rarely visits me as it is. I place the half-eaten cookie back, planning to eat the other half tomorrow, just in case he comes to see me. Which I hope he will, the bond always relaxes the nights he does. I put the open packet in the fridge and decide to quickly spring clean to burn off some energy. Quickly rushing around, I fill the sink with water and start cleaning the kitchen. Nothing I do improves its state. The place is falling apart. After washing my cup, I place it on the sink upside down when I hear car tires again. My eyes widen with excitement, and I can't help the stupid smile that spreads across my face. Pulling my hands out of the water, I quickly dry them and race to the front door, tossing it wide open, unable to contain my excitement. I squeal when I see Cade's car parked out front, and he hops out along with two of his pack enforcers whom I met back at the castle. Cade looks gorgeous in his suit, and I rush down the steps, bouncing with joy. I run over and am about to throw my arms around him. Gosh, I missed him. But I am greeted with his fist instead. My head snaps back, and I clutch my face, blood spurting from my nose and lip where his fist connected. Blood stains my shirt and my hands as I look at them. Shocked, unable to process what just happened, I land on my back on the gravel. Lifting my head, I see his hand reach for me before seeing Cade's face contort with anger and his once handsome features are now twisted in a cruel sneer. His fist is covered in blood and his expensive suit is stained with it. He looms over me, his expression full of rage. My mate grabs my hair, making me cry out as my neck arches back painfully. Cade says nothing, just rips me back toward the house. I clutch his hands, my feet slipping on the loose gravel as I try to stand. I feel the rough gravel scrape against my bare arms and legs as he drags me across it, and my scalp burns violently as he rips on my hair. I clutch the top step as he hauls me up it, only to earn a kick to the stomach when he is halted. Cade! I cry out as he drags me across the ground and up the steps by my hair. What did I do? I don't understand. My hair tears painfully from my scalp when he tosses me inside. I scream in pain when I land on the hard floor on my hip. My hands jar as I throw them out, trying to break my fall. The metallic scent of blood fills the air as it drips from my nose and lips. Cade kicks the door shut, and my eyes widen when he turns on me again. You whore, who were you with? Cade bellows at me. I scramble back on my hands and feet when he grabs my hair again, hauling me upright. What do you mean? I shriek as he yanks me into the kitchen. Whose car was here? Do you think I wouldn't notice, wouldn't feel your infidelity? He screams. He stopped in to visit me and bring food, it was just Ganon, I sob, trying to get him to let go. He finally does let go, and I stumble back into the sink when he growls, grabbing the back of my neck and plunging my face into the water. I choke and sputter on the dirty water. My hands grip the sides as I try desperately to pull my face out, only for him to shove my face in harder. I scream choking on water only for him to rip my face. Cade, please. I beg, gasping, trying to twist out of his grasp. You think you can just trap around behind my back? You belong to me. Cade snarls, his fingers digging into my skin. I'm sorry, I whimper, feeling like I can't breathe when he suddenly continues to hold me under the water. I thrash, my lungs screaming for air. Sorry doesn't cut it, he spits, finally pulling me up from the sink. I gasp for air, coughing, and wheezing as he grips my shoulders, shaking me violently. "Please," I cry out, tears streaming down my face. My throat burns and aches furiously from inhaling the water, making my nose burn, but before I can drown, he rips my head out, and I suck in harsh ragged breaths. "Did you trap him, you whore?" Cade screams in my face. I breathe harder, gasping for air. My hair and face are drenched, my shirt soaked, and the water in the sink is stained red. "No. I swear," I sob, knowing that even if Ganon had made a move on me, I would never cheat on Cade. "You're lying," he roars before delivering a hard slap across my face. The force makes me stumble backward and fall onto the floor. I curl up in a ball as Cade towers over me, his fists clenched at his sides. "Lying slut," he screams, grabbing my hair again. I scream and beg, my arms shaking as he pushes me toward the sink. "No, no, please. I'm not lying," I beg. He shoves my face back in the sink, and I claw and scratch at the counter, trying to get air. Water sloshes onto the floor at my feet as I struggle against him, only for him to rip me out at the last second again. "He brought me food, that's all," I choke out desperately, wondering what he is talking about. Cade yanks my head back, ripping open the pantry and fridge. He snarls, storming over to me and slamming my head into the counter again. Pain explodes through my skull, and I see black as my head pounds to its own beat. I collapse onto the floor, gasping for air as I try to shake off the dizziness. Blood pools in my mouth from where he has split my lip open with his violent grip. I struggle to peer around through my blurry vision, as panic rises in me, him looming above me. "What did you just say?" Cade growls, his hand still gripping tightly onto my hair. I said he brought me food," I stammer out weakly, trying to catch my breath. "A man brings you food and you don't tell me? You hide it from me like some kind of secret." Cade's voice is filled with rage and betrayal. "I didn't think it was important," I whimper, tears streaming down my face as I try to defend myself. "Nothing is more important than what happens in this house," Cade seethes, his grip on my hair tightening even more. "You're mine, and everything that concerns you concerns me." "I know, I'm sorry," I cry out, completely helpless under his wrath. "You'll be sorry when I'm done with you," he sneers before slamming my head back into the counter again. The pain is worse this time, and I feel hot tears streaking down my cheeks as darkness starts to close in on me. But before everything goes black, Cade lets go of my hair and turns away from me. Gasping for air and clutching at the counter for support, I watch as he storms across the kitchen and punches a hole into the wall. I shrink back against the cabinets, fear coursing through me as he continues to vent his anger on anything in sight. He starts ripping the canned food off the shelves, tossing them at me, and I shield my head, my body becoming bruised and battered, the bond screaming for him to stop, and my heart twists painfully in my chest. He snarls, picking up a bag of candy. "Did you trap him?" Cade snarls, and I shake my head, sobbing. My hands shake as he reaches for me, and I put them up to shield my face. Blood trickles down the side of my head, from my nose and eyebrow, my lip, my arms are bleeding from his claws and my blood stains the floor, my hands, and my clothes. Please, please, I didn't do anything wrong, I shriek when he grabs my hair again, ripping my head back before stuffing the candy in my mouth. I try to spit it out, choking on it. Filthy pig, you trapped him, didn't you? Thought you could get away with sneaking around behind my back, he roars in my face, spittle hits my face with his words. You want to act like a whore, I will treat you like one, he growls. Abby Cade rips me to my feet by my hair, and he shoves me toward the door. I see my phone and desperately try to snatch it off the counter when he punches me in the stomach, knocking the air from my lungs and I double over. He smashes it on the floor, my phone breaking into pieces while I try to catch my breath. He kicks me in the stomach, and I retch. The little food I had eaten bubbles up my throat and spills onto the floor along with my blood. Black dots dance before my vision, and flecks of gold as a wave of dizziness washes through me, the room spinning around me violently. My blood drips from the gash on my head. Cade's feet stop beside my face when hands grab me, and I am tossed over his shoulder. He kicks the door, sending it flying into the front of the yard before stomping down the steps. Open the trunk, he snaps at one of his men, who rushes to do his bidding. I thrash, trying to get him to put me down, begging and pleading with him, though it falls on deaf ears when I find myself tossed into the trunk, and he slams the lid shut. The sound of the trunk closing echoes in my ears, followed by the sound of the car engine roaring to life. The inside of the trunk smells musty and stale, with a hint of gasoline from the car's fumes. The scent of my own blood and vomit lingers in the air, making it difficult to breathe, and I taste bile in my mouth as I continue to retch, my stomach empty and churning with pain. My tongue tingles from the metallic taste of blood. I can hear faint, muffled voices and the thud of the trunk hitting the pavement as the car drives away. My fingers scrape against the rough carpet lining the trunk, seeking any sense of stability as I am thrown around with each swerve and turn. My body bruises against the unforgiving metal walls, the pain radiating through my limbs. I have no idea how long he drives, but I am sent hurtling into the rear seat when he slams on the brakes. My heart beats erratically, filling my ears with the pounding sound of it when I hear the car doors slam. I can't breathe, panic consuming me, and I try to suck in a hiccuped breath as the trunk opens. One of his enforcers reaches in to grab me. I thrash, slapping his hands away and kicking when he punches me. My head whips to the side, and I feel my eyes swell shut instantly. I groan, dazed from the blow. Hurry up, Cade snarls when I feel a needle jammed in my arm. It is like someone set my veins on fire as the poison rages an inferno through my bloodstream. Don't worry, love, it won't kill you, but you won't be able to shift or heal, just a mild sedative, Cade mocks as I peer up at him through my swollen eye that feels like it is ballooning out. The other man grabs me, tossing me over his shoulder, and I groan, feeling sick at just the motion of him walking up steps. Then, I am dumped onto the red carpet. I can't even sit up, wholly paralyzed yet wide awake. My mind races as I try to peer around, yet all I can see is a bed with red blankets in the distance. Attached to it are different chains and ropes, and the room smells funny. The pungent aroma of incense burns my nose. Sit her up, and make sure she watches, Cade sneers when the man from before grips my shirt, leaning me against the wall. He grabs my head, which is now lolled forward. I am dribbling blood, it drooling down my chin. A woman walks in with barely any clothes on. She is dressed in intricate black lace lingerie, with a matching garter belt and thigh-high stockings. Her hair is cropped into a short, edgy pixie cut, and she towers over me in her stiletto heels. "Yes, Alpha?" she asks, yet I notice the tremble of her fingers and the shake of her voice. "This is my mate, Abby. She is being punished, so we are going to put on a show for her. Get on the bed, Blair." The woman gasps and spins when he motions toward me with his hand, and she stumbles back, her face paling. "Your mate," she gasps, and she goes to kneel, her hands outstretched like she wants to help me when Cade snaps at her. "Don't touch the slut." "Now get on the bed," Cade snarls at her. The woman looks horrified at Cade. "But she is your mate," the woman says, and Cade growls. "Are you questioning your alpha? You remember what happened last time you questioned me?" he asks, tilting his head to the side, and she whimpers, offering her neck to him and nods. "Get on the bed," he snaps at her. She looks over her shoulder at me. My eyes well up with tears when Cade starts removing his own clothes. "If she closes her eyes, hit her," he orders the man holding my head up. The woman, Blair, quickly gets on the bed. Cade climbs onto the bed and positions himself, his eyes never leaving mine. The man holding my head up grabs a handful of my hair and pulls my head back so I can't look away. "Watch," Cade orders me as he leans down and starts kissing Blair's neck. She moans softly, but I can see the fear in her eyes. I feel sick to my stomach as I watch Cade touch another woman like that. Tears stream down my face as I am forced to watch every intimate moment between them. I try to look away, but the man holding me slaps me hard across the face, making me cry out in pain. "No closing your eyes," he growls at me. Cade continues to Blair while occasionally glancing over at me with a smirk on his face. I feel so violated and helpless, unable to move or protect myself from this humiliating display. Pain ripples through every part of my body, my heart crushed to smithereens. Ganon was right, there is nothing wrong with me. The pain I feel now is worsened because I not only endured it for so long, but I am also now forced to watch it as he been with this girl right in front of me for hours. The pain is excruciating, and I pray for it to end. Cade finally finishes, climbs off the bed, and walks over to me when he is done. Tears trek down my face when he stops in front of me. "Open her mouth," Cade says, and my eyes widen. I try to move, but can't, I can't even speak. My tongue feels numb, I can only drool on myself. The sting of tears pricked at the corners of my eyes as rough fingertips grab my chin, forcing my mouth open wider. My panicked gaze flicks to the woman named Blair, her sobs muffled by her hands as she lay on the bed. But my attention is quickly drawn back to Cade. Each movement feels like a violation, his touch alone making me feel dirty and used. Cade's grip on my hair tightens. He had already used her for pleasure, and now I am little more than a vessel for his release as he empties himself inside me. I can't help but gag and choke on it. Finally, he lets go of my hair and I crash to the ground, gasping for air and feeling utterly violated. The taste of her lingers in my mouth, a constant reminder of what had just happened. My entire body goes numb, even my mind, as I stare blankly at the dust underneath the bed. I can only stare there, no longer listening, going deaf to my surroundings. Closing my eyes, I pretend to be back in mine and Ivy's room at the orphanage, remembering the times we would lay on the hard floor gazing out the window at night, making pictures of the stars, dreaming of what it would be like to be free. I never thought I would see the day when I would rather be back there than where I currently am. Cade leaves me on the floor and stalks out. It takes hours before I can move my hand. Eventually, I brush my hair behind my ear. It had been annoying me, obscuring my vision for hours and tickling my nose. I try to blow it away to no avail, so I eventually use my hand, having regained some feeling back. My fingertips brush the scar behind my ear, and I suck in a shaky breath. More than my life, more than my life, I repeatedly whisper to myself as I cry because she is the only person I'm holding on for. More than my life. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.